Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to learn about aims and objectives of teaching commerce and accountancy. First unit. மெயினாக பார்க்க போகிறது வந்து மீனிங், நேச்சர் அண்டு ஸ்கோப். மீனிங், நேச்சர் அண்டு ஸ்கோப். General aims of teaching commerce in schools. The general aims of teaching commerce in school are as follows. First one, imparting knowledge of commerce. Second one, impart the knowledge about different profession. Third one, development of common sense. Fourth one, providing mental discipline. Fifth one, utility in future personal life. Sixth one, development of the sense of humility and service. Seventh one, development of human values. Eighth one, preparation of efficient traders. Ninth one, development of logical and decision taking power. Tenth one, promoting national and international understanding. 11, imparting practical training of commercial principles. 12, acquainting the students with the economic conditions and problems of the country. 13, providing training to become spendthrift and honest. 14, providing solution to contemporary problems. 15, helping students to become accountants, stenographers, editors, etc. 16, enable the pupils to use their leisure time properly. First one, imparting knowledge on commerce. The chief aim of teaching commerce is to impart the basic rules and principles related to commerce to the students of commerce. Second, impart the knowledge about different professions. At higher secondary level, the knowledge about the different vocations, professions is provided to students so that they can choose any profession, vocation according to their interest, attitude, aptitude, and economic conditions. Third, development of common sense. Commerce teaching develops cleverness among students. It provides various day-to-day activities to the students. Commerce teaching includes accounting of income and expenditure, getting maximum utilization with limited resources, markets and the trade income, etc. The pupils can learn to have control over their wants according to the law of demand and supply through the study of commerce. 4. Providing mental discipline. The aim of teaching commerce is also to provide mental discipline. It influences the intellectual life of the pupil. This mental discipline comes through the application of scientific attitude in fact, interpreting their effects and drawing correct conclusions and inference. In fact, commerce encourages independence in thought and action. An independent person comes to his conclusion only after thoughtful deliberations. 5. Utility in future personal life. Knowledge of commerce provides that knowledge which will surely help the students to their future personal life, that is, filling up the problems, pro forma of bonds, insurance and checks, etc. Writing the business letters, depositing and withdrawing the money from banks. 6. Development of the sense of humility and service. Teaching commerce helps the pupils in developing the qualities of humility and service. A successful trader is always polite and sweet-tempered. It is only with his politeness that he attracts the customers towards him. Commerce teaching makes the pupils tolerant and develops in them the spirit of cooperation and service. 7. Development of human values. Through commerce education, students can be taught about human values. The students can be told that each business has two things: One is profit and second one is loss. So we should have patience for getting fair profit in the business. 8. Preparation of efficient traders. Commerce education helps the pupils to be efficient traders. The children of today are the citizens of tomorrow. They can become traders, producers, and capitalists in the future. It is the function of commerce education to make them efficient traders. It helps the pupils to become able to make development in different spaces of our nation. It teaches them what it helps the pupils to become able to make development in different spaces of our nation. It teaches them what type of good should be imported or exported. Thus, the teaching of commerce helps in preparing efficient traders. 9. Development of logical and decision-taking power. The aim of teaching commerce should be to develop the students' logic and decision-taking power so that they can solve their financial problems. 10. Promoting national and international understanding. Through commerce education, nationalism and international understanding can be developed easily. For it, they can thought about the duties of a shopkeeper towards his customer or duties of a factory owner towards his shareholders. 11. Imparting practical training of commercial principles. The main aim of commerce education is to impart practical training of commercial principles to the pupils. It provides a detailed knowledge about the basic principles of business. For example, it provides a detailed knowledge about the functioning of companies, business organizations, cooperative societies, banks, government offices, and factories. Commerce education teaches pupils how to control the prices and which kind of persons and agencies are helpful in this process. Thus, the pupils of commerce get the knowledge by analyzing the fact and understanding the accounting of banks, companies, and government offices. 12. Acquainting the students with economic conditions and problems of the country. Commerce education tells the students about economic conditions and problems of the country. Thus, it tells them how to remain happy and develop economically. In fact, it is the duty of every citizen to provide help in economic development of their country. Commerce education creates awareness towards economic development, and with the help of acquired knowledge, they can be successful in solving these problems. Thus, commerce education develops economic consciousness among the pupils. 13. Providing training to become spendthrift and honest. Commerce education makes the pupils spendthrift. They understand how to get maximum satisfaction with the limited money, how to prevent the wastage of money. Thus, the pupils learn to become honest. Only the honest trader can get to success in trading. 14. Providing solution to contemporary problems. Commerce education develops the abilities of the pupils to provide mature judgment and immediate trade issues, trends and prospects in the field of industries, business, national and international affairs. 15. Helping students to become accountants, stenographers, editors, etc. In commerce education, students study bookkeeping and accountancy, business methods, banking, insurance, and economics in commerce. Bookkeeping and accountancy help them in becoming accountants. Commerce develops the attitude among the students from the initial stage that they can become insurance agents, they can go for banking services, etc. 16. Enable the pupils to use their leisure time properly. Commerce education not only tries to help the students in the proper utilization of leisure time. It helps them in acquiring the knowledge of banks, post office, share market, business ledgers, etc. in a playway manner. In this way, we can conclude that commerce education seeks to promote the trading activities. It should indicate right type of attitude, right type of interest, and various skills. Other aims of teaching commerce in schools. 1. To provide knowledge about general laws of commerce so that pupils may utilize them in solving business problems. 2. To make pupils cooperative citizens for increasing the national income and to make the standard of living high in the nation. To develop scientific attitude among the students. 4. To develop economic citizenship among the students and develop the feeling of responsibility. 5. To acquaint the students about the measure helpful in industrial and business progress. 6. To provide knowledge about the natural resources of the nation and teaching them how to utilize them fruitfully. 7. To provide knowledge about general laws of commerce so that students may utilize them in solving business problems. The educational objectives of commerce, the learner. First one, understand the concept, principles, etc. related to commercial dealings. 2. Develop the ability to apply principles, process, etc. related to commercial tasks in new situations. 3. Analyzes complex situations related to commerce into the meaningful aspect involved. 4. Synthesis components of form meaningful words in the form of principles, process, systems, etc. related to commerce. 5th. Evaluates procedures, strategies, conclusions, predictions, etc. related to commercial dealings on the basis of accepted norms, theories, principles, and processes. 6. Develops desirable interest in ideas and tasks related to commercial activities. Develops a healthy attitude towards desirable trends, practices, and ideas in commerce. 8. Appreciate systematic, fair, and socially oriented commercial dealings. 9. Internalize values and value system associated with commercial dealings. 10. Establishes healthy linkages with commercially relevant organizations and institutions. 11. Develops skills of performing intellectual and physical activities related to commercial tasks. Instructional objectives and behavioral objectives in commerce teaching. 1. Knowledge objective. To acquire the knowledge of fact, terms, concepts, conventions, trends, principles, generalizations, assumptions, hypotheses, process, etc. in commerce. Second one, understanding objective. To develop an understanding of fact, terms, concept, conventions, trends, principles, generalizations, assumptions, hypotheses, processes, etc. in commerce. 3. Application objective. To apply the acquired knowledge of commerce and its understanding the unfamiliar situations. 4. Skill objective. To acquire practical skills essential for the study of commerce. 5. Interest objective. To acquire practical skills essential for the study of commerce. 6. Application objective. To develop desirable positive attitudes necessary for developing a broader outlook as a commerce entrepreneur and as a citizen. Objective 1. To acquire the knowledge of facts, terms, concepts, conventions, trends, principles, generalizations, assumptions, hypotheses, process, etc. in commerce. Specification of the objective. To demonstrate the achievement of the above objective, the pupil A recalls fact, terms, concept, principles, trends, etc. in commerce. B. Recognize fact, terms, concept, principle, trends, etc. in commerce. C. Reads information from various forms of representation of data, that is, map, chart, diagrams, graphs, etc. in commerce. Objective 2. To develop an understanding of facts, terms, concepts, conventions, trends, principles, generalizations, assumptions, hypotheses, process, etc. in commerce. Specification of the objective. To demonstrate the achievement of the above objective, the people A discriminates, B classifies, C compares and contracts, D identifies relationship, E detects the points of emphasis and the trends of arguments, F cites illustrations, G detects errors and fallacies and corrects them, H explains, I gives reasons or advances arguments, J interprets data presented in different forms. Objective 3. To apply the accurate knowledge and its understanding to unfamiliar situations. Specifications of the objective. To demonstrate the achievement of the above objective, the people A analyzes the unfamiliar situations or problems and find out what's given and what is required. Recalls knowledge relevant to the situation. Judge the sufficiency or insufficiency, adequacy and inadequacy data or any other evidence for solving the problem. B. Establishes relationship. C. Suggests alternative method for solving a particular problem. D. Selects alternative methods for solving a particular problem. E. Draws inferences and makes generalizations. F. Makes predictions regarding the probable outcome of a given situation. Objective 4. To acquire practical skills essential for the study of commerce. Specification of the objective. To demonstrate the achievement of the above objective, the prefers draw, map, charts, tables, diagrams, graphs, etc. from the given data. B. Translate the data from one form of presentation to another. C. Prepare models. Objective 5. To develop interest in the subject and problem related to commerce and commercial life to the people of one's country and of the world. Specifications of the objective. To determine the achievement of the above objective, the people A. Voluntary studies literature related to commerce and tries to know about the internet issues and problems. B. Spends leisure in trying to know about commercial problems and issues and exerts in finding solutions to them. C. Closely observes commercial processes and changes at local, national, and international levels. D. Discusses and is able to communicate various aspects to everyday civic problem and their implications. E. Enthusiastically participate in excursions, visits and field trips to places of commercial activities, etc., Chamber of Commerce, etc. F. Enjoys attending and participating in debates, symposium, discussions and commercial problems. G. Enjoys writing articles and preparing pamphlets, brochures and etc. on topics related to commerce. H. Enjoys preparing display materials related to commercial life and events. I. Enjoys collecting information about the other commercial system and facts about other locations, regions as countries. Objective 6. To develop desirable positive attributes necessary for developing a broader outlook. A. Specifications of the objective. Respect the views, opinions, and problems of others and display sympathy and fellow feeling towards them. Shows tolerance, controls emotions and displays restraint, develops social awareness, it's able to examine the present situations in the light of a historical perspective, develops a sense of law, abidingness, assumes responsibility in cooperative and civic activities, judges issues objectively and other merits, displays abhorrence towards commercial malpractices like hoarding, profiteering, black marketing, smuggling, bribery of for obtaining favors. Shows sympathetic understanding of the problems of people belonging to different social, religious, linguistic, and cultural groups. Realizes the importance of the contributions made by the leaders of the nations in different spheres, develops a sense of respect for the national flag, the national anthem, the national emblem, and the constitution of one's country and those of other countries of the world, develops faith in democratic and secular values. B. Behavioral objectives. Behavioral objectives, also known as learning objectives and performance objectives. And objectives in the knowledge or skills one wants the students to be able to exist in order to be considered competent. Objectives are related to outcomes because they detail the expected result or outcomes of instruction. C. The importance of using behavior objectives of teaching. Provides basis for selection and design the instructional content, methods and materials. 2. Provides learner with means to organize effort towards accomplishing objectives. 3. Allow for determination as to the extent objectives have been accomplished. These are several methods of writing objectives in behavioral terms. 1. Robert Major's approach. 2nd. Robert Miller's approach. 3. RCEM approach. First one, Robert Maher approach. Robert Maher says instructional objectives are best described in terms of the terminal behavior expected from the learners. He recommends the following things for the writing of objectives. 1. Recognize of the terminal behavior or performance and its naming. 2nd. Description of the significant conditions under which the behavior is bound to take place. 3rd. Specification of the criteria of acceptable performance by mentioning how good a learner's performance must be for being acceptable. Mager's approach has adopted Bloom's taxonomy as a starting point for the writing of objectives. As he has sought the assistance of the associated action verbs of starting the various objectives, the verbs assist in describing the different outcomes of learning or terminal behavior of the learner in a well-defined manner. A list of associated actions, verb for cognitive and affective domain has been depicted below. First, a list of associated action verb in the cognitive domain. Objectives based on Bloom's taxonomy, associated action verb. 1. Knowledge. Action verb. Define, list, label, measure, name, recall, recognize, reproduce, state, write, outline. 2nd. Comprehension. Change, classify, distinguish, explain, formulate, identify, illustrate, indicate, interpret, justify, judge, name, represent, select, summarize, transform, translate. 3. Application. Assesses, change, conduct, construct, compute, demonstrate, discover, explain, establish, find, generate, illustrate, modify, predict, perform, select, solve, use. 4. Analysis. Analyze, associate, compare, derive, discuss, generalize, integrate, organize, prove, relate, restate, select, summarize, synthesize. 5. Evaluation. Associate, choose, compare, see, criticize, conclude, defend, determine, evaluate, judge, identify, recognize, relate, select, summarize, support, verify. Secondly, a list of associated action verb for the affective domain. Objectives based on Blue's taxonomy action 1. 1. Receiving. Acts, accept, attend, beware, catch, discover, experiment, identify, favor, follow, observe, prefer, perceive, insist, select, name. Second, responding. Answer, assist, complete, derive, discuss, develop, help, list, name, obey, present, practice, record, select, state, write. 3. Value. Accept, attempt, complete, choose, determine, demonstrate, discriminate, develop, increase, indicate, participate, prefer, recognize. 4. Organization. Act, associate, compare, complete, coordinate, correlate, determine, find, form, generalize, integrate, judge, plan, prepare, write, select, synthesize, organize. 5. Work characterization. Accept, change, characterize, decide, discriminate, develop, experiment, face, identify, confirm, prove, revive, serve, solve, verify. Third, limitations of Robert Macker approach. Even though Robert Macker's program instructions are quite popular, they suffer from some limitations which are given us under a Macker's approach is a behavioral approach, but human learning cannot be explained only through stimulus response learning. B. Maker has concentrated on cognitive and affective objectives and neglected the psychomotor domain. C. In this approach, stress has been laid on behavioral approach and behavioral terms have been extensively used. D. Nothing has been mentioned about related mental process or mental capabilities. Therefore, this approach does not justify the objectives of cognitive and affective approach methods of writing. E. While classifying the cognitive and affective objectives, the repetition of action words creates confusion. It is not appropriate to use one verb in the conduct to several objectives. F. The list of action verbs is very long. It is not objectively appropriate to teach all these activities in classroom teaching. Second, Robert Miller's approach. Maher has laid a greater stress on the behavioral aspect in his approach. Robert Miller, while using skill analysis, is propagated psychomotor objectives for writing behavioral terms. The process of this approach is under first one to explain the indicator which indicates some relevant activity. Second, to control the person or thing which motives towards the direction of work. Third, to explain the indicator to which reaction is motivated. 4. To explain that action which has been completed. 5. Indication of reactions and feedback. Like Macker, Miller has also prepared a list of action verbs for writing the actionable objectives. We can take the help of these action verbs of writing the psychomotor objectives. Harrow's list of these action verbs are as under. Associated action verbs for psychomotor. Objectives based on Harrow's classification. Associated action verb. 1. Reflex movements. Bite, scratch, loosen, harden, making, small, jump, lengthen, relax, straighten. Second, basic fundamental movement. Catch, fall, creep, trim, jump, walk, run, reach, kneel. Third, physical abilities. Start, begin, bear, bend, conduct, stop, smash, English. 4. Perceptual abilities. Balance, bend, throw, write, feed, identification by touching, catch, discover, identification by smelling or healing, eat, etc. 5. Skilled movements. Dig, dive, dance, drive, play, music organ, shoot, swim. 6. Non-discussion communication. Mimic, tease, stand, sketch, smile, pose, sit. Miller has tried to write the objectives of the approach in a behavioral form by giving an example from the field of physical training and exercise. Instructional objectives in psychomotor, right in behavioral form. 1. Reflex movements. Students can move their arms with the sound of a drum. Second, basic fundamental movements. Students can jump from a minimal height. 3. Physical abilities. Students can stand on their toes for a minimum time. 4. Perpetual abilities. Students can balance their body on parallel bars. 5. Skilled movements. Students can take the dive for a minimum period of time or swim. RCEM approach. Reaction against the limitations of Magus approach and Miller's approach. Both Magus and Miller's approaches have failed to write instructional objectives in a behavioral form in all the three domains of behavior. If Mager is related with cognitive and affective domain objectives, Miller's approach deals the psychomotor objectives. Both approaches have depended on associative actions verbs of writing the objectives of the behavior and the approach process, but both approaches have neglected the mental activities totally. Because of these weaknesses, both the approaches have been criticized. To remove these weaknesses, research work has been undertaken. In our country, also work has been done in this regard. As a result of which a new method has been developed which is called RCEM approach because it has been developed at Regional College of Education, Mysore. To write instructional objectives in behavioral terms, RCM approach instead of action verbs has depended on mental activities or mental abilities. This method with minor changes has been adapted from Bloom's classification of objectives and it is named as RCM's slit taxonomy. In this in cognitive domain, instead of Bloom's categories of classification, 4 categories of classifications have been adopted. The last 2 classifications have been named as creatively. The other change is that Bloom's comprehensive has been renamed as understanding, objectives and mental process in RCEM approach. Adjectives, mental activities or mental abilities. 1. Knowledge. Recognize, recall. 2. Understanding. See relationship, cite example, discriminate, classify, interpret, verify, generalize. 3. Application. Reason out, formulate hypothesis, establish hypothesis, infer, predict. 4. Creativity. Analyze, synthesize, evaluate. These mental activities or abilities can be applied and objectives can be written in behavioral vocabulary. For this in RCM approach, 17 statements has been mentioned which are as under 1. Knowledge objectives. Students have the ability to recognize, students have the ability to recall. Second, understanding objectives. Students have the ability to see relationship, students have the ability to cite example, students have the ability to discriminate, students have the ability to classify, students have the ability to interpret, students have the ability to verify, students have the ability to generalize. Third one, application objectives. Students have the ability to reason out, students have the ability to formulate hypothesis, students have the ability to establish hypothesis, students have the ability to infer, students have the ability to predict. Fourth one, creativity objectives. Students have the ability to analyze, students have the ability to synthesize, students have the ability to evaluate, how to write objectives in RCM approach. Fifth one, the procedure for writing objectives is first of all, students should take care of entry behavior. Second, students should give thought to objective of education and learning. Third, students should thereafter concentrate on this learning. experience, subject material, etc. Students should select appropriate eventual activities keeping in with the entry behavior, subject material and specific activities. Merits. First one, this approach is useful for Indian schools because it has been developed in Indian conditions. Second, this approach is useful for all the three domains of education such as cognitive, affective and psychomotor cognitive. Third, it is clear from giving more importance to mental activities that in this approach procedure has been given more importance than result. Four, this method to helps the teacher to evaluate the result. Limitations. One, in this approach there is no specific divisions of the objectives of the three domains of human behavior. Second, in this approach a list of 17 statements is difficult to interpret the change in students' behavior. That this approach cannot achieve the objectives related to the development of skills, aesthetic sense, testers and proclivities in the field of some subjects and subject matter taught in a school. 4. It is difficult to link the elements of a subject material with the mental activities or abilities. Thank you, students.